beginning, I'm a little worried about people talking about a G2 between China and the United States, because I think it can give the wrong impression to our friends and allies in East Asia that we're somehow shifting the focus of our attentions in East Asia all to China. I think that would be very wrong. I think that the alliance structure in place since World War II has served us extremely well. The force transformation we're going through is serving us well, and we need to keep the alliances robust even as we engage China. I think people like yourself should raise this question to American policymakers and ask if there's some sort of change going on in the strategic environment. It's a good question. And I would hope the answer is no. We're trying to have a comprehensive relationship with China while keeping our security structure robust and continue with what we called in the Bush administration a hedging strategy in case China turns out to be a different kind of nation than we hope it will be.
Gordon?
If I could chime in on that, in the early part of the Democratic campaign, there was a very vibrant debate about two different schools of thought on Asia policy more broadly. And it was seen as the China firsters versus the alliance firsters. And the notion among some was that you get your relationship with China right, and then your relationships with your allies and other partners in the regions will naturally flow from that. And so it's a real question of prioritization. The other school obviously was, no, you get your relations with your allies right first. You know, with Thailand and South Korea and Japan, that's done first, and then that will then put you in the right position to deal with China. If I had to kind of view where I think the Obama administration is going right now, it's not such a clear dichotomy, but it is leaning towards the alliance first model, right? Which is that you cannot subjugate your alliance relationships, your friends, the people who truly are strategic partners that have the same core basic values and approaches to things in your pursuit of this very important relationship with China. And at the same time, obviously the relationship with China isn't defined entirely just through our alliances, right? It's defined by common challenges and common interests. And so, again, it's not so black and white in that distinction, but it really represents kind of the right way forward.
Let me just ask a follow-up question to that, both on Japan and South Korea. How are Japan and South Korea, how do they react to this possible change in the security structure in East Asia? What are the conversations in those countries like?
Well, I mean, the question from Japan tells you everything you need to know, right? There is a considerable degree of understandable and justifiable angst in Japan about what the rise of China means for Japan and what the rise of China means for the U.S.-Japan alliance relationship. And I presume, and John can talk about this more, that's echoed in some degree in South Korea, which is why I think it's very important. You remember in my early remarks I was talking about symbolism as substance. It's very important, that the first stop of the Secretary of State and the first visit she makes is to Japan, because this is, again, our primary ally in the region. And that visit also includes a stop-off in South Korea, because, again, there is more than just military issues on the table in terms of our relationship with these other countries.